ATHLEAN-X.com. So today we're going to start building some mass, and our weapons of mass construction are going to be these two bands. You see, a lot of people have a misconception about band training. They think that there's no way that you can build mass with bands. It might be true if you're focusing on the big exercises and the big muscles, but bands are actually the perfect tool to train the small muscles that support the big muscles to help you make those muscles bigger. Today I'm going to show you the 8 best exercises you can start doing and need to start doing if you want to start increasing the amount of weight that you lift on your bigger exercises by paying some attention to those often overlooked muscles. Okay, first up is our band pull apart, and this is one of those exercises that targets the shoulder girdle. And get used to it because our first 5 exercises are going to target this area of our body. The band pull apart is going to help us to strengthen our rhomboids. And for anybody that has any kind of scapular instability, especially a winging of the scapula, where they start to kind of come off of your back, the middle portion of the scapula can't stay fixed onto your back, that causes some major instability issues when you try to go bench press. Now, it can be due to a weak serratus that the next exercise here will address. And these are our serratus punches. Now, right here, all we're trying to do is keep a straight arm and just straighten it even further. If you think you've reached out as far as you can go, try to reach out even further. You do this because you're trying to make sure that the serratus is strong enough to hold your shoulder blade up against your rib cage no matter what happens with your arm, no matter how you're moving your arm. You want that stability against your rib cage, even if it's rotating up or down. It needs to be able to stay in contact with your rib cage if you want to be able to press strongly. Remember, if you're trying to execute a push with some serious strength behind it, you have to have a stable base to work off of. If I was trying to push this wall and my feet gave out, guess what? I have no ability to push with any force into that wall. The same thing's happening here with our bench press. If you want to be able to push away and you don't have any stability down below, you're not going to be able to push as hard. So these 2 exercises are critical to sort of work on that 1-2 combination. Next, we have a more dynamic version of this, and we call it the over and back. So what we're doing is we're working on both elements again, rhomboid strength and serratus strength, but we're doing it a little bit more eccentrically. We need this dynamic control. As I move the band in front of me, I can't allow it to snap either in front of me too quickly, and I have to make sure it keeps its distance away from my body. And the same thing when I come back behind my head, we're going to work our rhomboids again, but we're working them dynamically and also with control. We can't allow it to just snap back and touch my butt with the band. I want to be able to keep some distance away from my back as I make this transition front to back. Okay, so another very important component, and again, very often overlooked, and not blaming people because a lot of people don't know to do this. Of course, here when we train like athletes, we got to incorporate all these things into a complete training program. Okay, moving on, we're still on the shoulders, but we want to work on different areas of the shoulders, and this time you got to work on those lower traps. The lower traps are going to kind of pull down and back, so it's going to keep your shoulder blades tucked down and back. Again, a very essential part of executing a proper bench press, or at least a safe bench press. So working on them here with this overhead jackhammer is a great way to get this area nice and strong. And again, you incorporate this into your daily or at least into your weekly training plan so that you have strong enough scapula so that it carries over when you go to do your bench press and you can bench press without incurring injury. Or at least if you're not going to incur injury, at least increase the strength that you have on this exercise. Okay? So then we move on to another extremely important part of our shoulder joint, and that is the rotator cuff. And what we have to do here is we actually incorporate it into one of my favorite exercises that works our entire upper back, and it's the face pull. But you can see as I try to pull back, if I try to bring my thumbs back behind me, as I'm showing you here, that now gets a little bit of external rotation up at the shoulders. And the only muscles that externally rotate the shoulders are the rotator cuff. 3 of the 4 muscles in there, the rotator cuff. If you are not doing exercises that purposely externally rotate your shoulder, you're going to set yourself up for an injury. 100% of the time, that's what's going to happen. So you have to have devoted exercises that externally rotate your shoulder. Again, this is something that we take care of automatically in our ATHLEAN-X training systems because we know how important it is to your overall shoulder health and how long you can stay in the gym and how big and strong you can ultimately become. But this exercise is a great way to do that. Next up, number 6, now we move down to the lower body where we attack the hips. And the hips are an area now that have lots of muscles that intertwine and work together, and a lot of times it's the smaller ones that don't get the attention. Sure, we work on our quads, yes, we work on our hamstrings, but do we work on the smaller muscles? You have to if you want to get the most out of those other muscles when you're trying to execute bigger lifts. So we work on one of the most fundamental movements of the lower body for anything, for a deadlift, for a squat. It's the hip hinge. This hip hinge can be actually strengthened in a really fundamental way with our hip hinge band exercise. You literally just anchor the band around your body. First of all, let the tension pull you back into a normal hip hinge. Understand what it feels like to hinge at the hips and not just bend at the knees. You can save yourself a lot of potential knee problems down the road if you learn how to execute a hinge at the hip first and then get some bend of the knee as you go down into whatever it is, either a deadlift or a squat. So this exercise allows us to do that, and then as we, of course, resist it with the band, we can strengthen our glutes as we push forward. So a great option for you to learn both the mechanics and also strengthen those mechanics. And number 7, now we get really creative here, and it's sort of multi-dimensional movements. Actually could be called perfect overhead squat exercise here, but it's the overhead side step. So with the overhead side step, what you do is you step into the band and you cross it over. So now with the X made, now you put your hands up overhead, you try to spread your feet as far apart as you can against the resistance of the band, and your arms are going to be up in this overhead X position. Now here what you're working on is, can you maintain thoracic extension? Can you stay up nice and tall, which is what that overhead arm positioning is going to do, while you do a side step? And the side step here is actually working resisted abduction. And I will tell you, you will be amazed at how weak we are in our hips and the ability to abduct. Some people can't even lay on the ground. These are elite level athletes, can't even lay on the ground and execute 25 leg lifts, Jane Fonda style, without it burning so bad that they can't even make it there. That is so critically important if you want to start increasing the strength on all your lower body exercises. Your hips better be able to support and stabilize the bigger muscles. And then finally we hit our core. You can't leave the core out of this, guys. It's going to transition right between the hips and the shoulder blades is your core. We could do this with one of those often overlooked muscles as well, and it's the obliques. Again, everyone likes to focus on the six-pack abs, but really what's more important to the function of the abs are the horizontally running and the diagonally running internal and external obliques. So if you want to get stronger at all your core-related movements, you better start working on your ability to get stronger through rotation. So here we can work on those oblique muscles with this easy oblique crunch. Again, you step yourself out and you're really just working on rotating and contracting at the same time. You can literally see the muscles here contracting. You want to be able to put your own fingers right on those muscles and feel them contract. They're very easy muscles to feel. Even if you're carrying a little bit of body fat, you can still feel these muscles kind of working, and you want to get into the habit of making them work more often. So there you have it, guys. There's the 8 best band exercises you can do, especially if you want to start building mass. I know it's not that sexy, but I can tell you this. If you start adding these exercises to your routines, you're going to find that those big lifts will take a big jump up because you're finally working on the supporting muscles that you've never really worked on before. And when those muscles are in place, you'd be amazed at how much power you can generate with those bigger muscles that rely on those small muscles. If you're looking for a program that builds them right into our program, so you don't have to really think about it. I've already told you what exercises to do, when, and I kind of weave them in exactly when they need to be. You can get the ATHLEAN-X training program over at athleanx.com. It truly is me as a physical therapist trying to put the science back in strength and get you not only a better program, but a safer program. In the meantime, if you found this video helpful, leave your comments and thumbs up below and let me know what you want to see here on this channel, guys. Remember, this channel is about you. I make the exercises and the videos that you want me to cover and see. I'll continue to do that. I'll be back here again real soon. See ya.